Hey guys, welcome to a segment of the Grind Never Stops podcast where we debate live news about all things sports. This is your host, DJ Joe. In today's short segment, we are going to recap Game 4 of the NBA Finals and preview Game 5 of the Finals, which is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. So guys, as you guys all know, the Suns were up 2-1 going into Game 4. But as I told you guys, is that the Bucks stole the momentum. I told you they had to win Game 3 of the Bucks. And if they do win Game 3, the Bucks will steal the momentum. Because the Suns had all the momentum in Game 1 and Game 2. But talking about Game 4, the Bucks started up slow in Game 4, but they kept on attacking and were not giving up because they don't want to be down 3-1 going into Game 5 in Phoenix, because there's only one team in NBA history that came back down from 3-1. It was LeBron's Cleveland Cavaliers against Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green back in 2016. So that happens once in a blue moon. But as the Bucks were down as much as 15, but the second half was brutal for the Suns, and that's why the Bucks came back, because there was only one player doing the scoring, and it was D Books, the man, the legend who scored 70 points a couple years ago. He scored 42 points, but he was mostly on a bench in the second half as he was stuck in foul trouble, and Monty Williams benched him, and D Books did not like it, and he was mad not at Monty Williams but with himself. But D Books ended up with 5 personal fouls. He did not have a foul ever since he came back from being on a bench for the whole fourth quarter. Ayton only had 6 points, but he had 17 rebounds and a playoff high 5 assists. But the Suns are going to need DeAndre Ayton, the two-way center, to score more and have Chris Paul get back in these finals, because CP3 has been nowhere to be found the last 2 games in Game 3 and Game 4. And Jay Crowder did have himself a game with 15 points and 8 rebounds. But the Suns need to play better defensively and not rely on the refs, because I'm going to go there and tell you guys that many fouls that the Suns had against the Bucks were very debatable, and maybe thinking the NBA wants the Bucks to win because they have the 2-time MVP, they have the Bucks, they have Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I don't like, it's always going to be like that. The NBA and the refs always want a certain team to go to a Game 7 for show. But the Suns cannot rely on that. And the Bucks too cannot rely on the refs to save their life again for 3 games in a row in these finals. But for the Suns, they just gotta play their game because they have the staff and roster to beat this Bucks. They beat big teams. They beat the MVP of this season. They beat LeBron James. They beat Paul George. And Giannis did not have a huge game in Game 4 as scoring-wise, but Middleton is the one who went off once again with his 40 points. And in the fourth quarter, Chris Middleton, money boy, kept hitting jump shot after jump shot, and Giannis was just there enjoying the moment, like Kobe Bryant carries Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA Finals. Jrue Holiday was back to being inefficient, as he shot 4 for 20 once again, but he was flirting with a triple-double with 7 boards and 7 dimes. But the Bucks are really lucky because D Book scored 40 and Giannis scored less than 30, and Jrue scored 13 points. Bucks need to play better defense on Devin Booker because they are playing tight D on the Hall of Famer point guard in CP3. But you know that Chris Paul won't have back-to-back horrible performances in the playoffs, but in this case in the NBA Finals. And the Bucks need Jrue Holiday to be more consistent on the floor, because there won't be, and I repeat, there won't be another game where CP3, Ayton, and Crowder don't score well on the offensive end and have D Book score 40 with 5 fouls, because maybe the Bucks need another 40 or 50 point night from Middleton tonight. Because that won't happen again. Maybe it might happen, but you just need Middleton to score because he's their best scorer other than Giannis. Because once again, Giannis was exposed at times in Game 4 and in Game 3. But for tonight's Game 5 for the Suns, they need Booker to keep doing D-Book things and to take less pressure off him and for him to not get into foul trouble. Because he missed a lot of time in the third and the most important quarter, which is the fourth. And for D-Books to not force shots like he did at the end of Game 4 when he came back from being on the bench with 5 fouls. And for CP3 to be CP3, to not be Chris Paul, to be CP3. And we need him going. Because once Devin Booker and Chris Paul are going, Ayton, Bridges, and Crowder will follow because we haven't talked about Bridges, who has been struggling since Game 3 and struggled in Game 4. But D-Books and CP3 are the leaders. They brought this young team to the NBA Finals. We're not talking about first round, second round, third round. We're talking about the NBA Finals facing a former 2-time MVP. But now, the keys of the game for the Bucks is they need Giannis to dominate more, to dominate like people say he's the next Shaq. Because he hasn't dominated just yet. He scored 40 in Game 2, but what was the result at the end? It was a loss in the finals. We need Giannis to dominate in a winning fashion. Because we both know it's already Game 5, and we haven't talked about Giannis being in a consistent way. We haven't had a consistent performance from both Middleton and Holiday. And it's time for all the big three to be consistent on both ends of the floor. But for Giannis, this is about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because it's Game 5 on a road in these finals. If you win this one, you steal this one, you go back home to your crazy fans in Wisconsin, and you win the title. Because this is a both win for both teams, but it's a must win for Giannis and the Bucks. Because you don't want to go down 3-2 because that puts a lot of pressure. And you know, when the Milwaukee Bucks are under pressure, they fail miserably. But gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to this short segment. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and like our videos on YouTube as we officially reach 170 subscribers. And I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to us and show us love and support. I appreciate you guys. But before we continue, I also want to shout out my boy podcast. You can check him out. It's Potty Mouth Sports. But you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and send your donations to our PayPal. We appreciate everyone who has followed us on social media and who has donated to us. And all links will also be in the description. But this is a segment of the Grind Never Stops podcast. It's your host, DJ Joe, signing out. Mamba out.